Have you ever heard of a footballer who called himself God? A player so full of confidence, so ridiculously talented, and with a personality so big it could fill a stadium all by itself? Today, we're talking about the one and only Zlatan Ibrahimovic, a man who didn't just play football, he redefined what it means to be a superstar. His story doesn't start in a fancy football academy. It begins in Rosengård, a tough neighborhood in Malmö, Sweden. Born to a Bosnian father and a Croatian mother who divorced when he was just a kid, Zlatan's childhood was far from easy. He was a lanky, awkward kid with a big nose, often feeling like an outsider. Money was tight, and life on the streets was a constant battle. This is where he learned to fight, to be tough, and to rely on himself. And it's where he discovered football. The small, gravel pitches of Rosengård were his first stage, a place where he could escape, express himself, and hone the skills that would one day stun the world. He was different, and he knew it. He didn't play the Swedish way, all about teamwork and being humble. No, Zlatan played with a flair, a bit of arrogance, and a whole lot of magic, inspired by his idol, the Brazilian Ronaldo. His professional journey started at his local club, Malmö FF. But even there, he was a rebel. His teammates' parents even signed a petition to get him kicked off the team because they thought he was too selfish, too individualistic. But Zlatan's talent was undeniable. He helped Malmö get promoted back to the top division, and soon, bigger clubs came knocking. One of them was Arsenal, and a famous story tells of how a young Zlatan was invited for a trial. The legendary manager Arsene Wenger asked him to do a tryout, but Zlatan, in his typical fashion, replied, "Zlatan doesn't do auditions." And just like that, he walked away. Instead, he signed for the Dutch Giants, Ajax, a club famous for developing young talent. This was his first big move, his first taste of the European elite. But it wasn't a smooth ride. He struggled to adapt at first, clashing with teammates, including a young Rafael van der Vaart. But then came that one moment, a goal that is still talked about today. In a match against NAC Breda, Zlatan received the ball, and what followed was pure art. He weaved past defender after defender, faking shots, twisting and turning, leaving the entire opposition's defense looking like statues before coolly slotting the ball into the net. It was a goal that announced his arrival on the world stage. It wasn't just a goal, it was a statement. Zlatan had arrived. From Ajax, his journey became a tour of Europe's most glamorous clubs. He moved to Italy, the land of tactical defending, and joined Juventus. Here, under the strict guidance of Fabio Capello, he transformed from a raw talent into a lethal goal-scoring machine. He bulked up, refined his game, and won 2 league titles, although they were later revoked due to a scandal. When Juventus was relegated, Zlatan wasn't going to play in the second division. He forced a move to their bitter rivals, Inter Milan. At Inter, he truly became a king. He was the main man, the superstar the team was built around. He won 3 consecutive Serie A titles and was the league's top scorer. He scored every type of goal imaginable, powerful headers, long-range rockets, and, of course, his signature acrobatic kicks. One goal, in particular, a backheel scorpion kick against Bologna, seemed to defy physics. He was at the peak of his powers, the undisputed king of Italy. But one trophy still eluded him, the Champions League. So, he made a blockbuster move to Barcelona, the best team in the world at the time, to chase that dream. He was part of a swap deal for Samuel Eto'o plus a huge amount of cash. It started well, but cracks soon began to appear. The Barcelona philosophy of tiki-taka was all about the team, the system. And Zlatan was, well, Zlatan. He clashed with the manager, Pep Guardiola, whom he famously called a spineless coward in his autobiography. Zlatan felt he was being asked to sacrifice his individuality for the team to become just another cog in the machine. He compared himself to a Ferrari being driven like a Fiat. After just one season, despite a decent goal tally and winning the league, the dream was over. He left Barcelona, feeling misunderstood and stifled. He returned to Italy, this time with AC Milan, Inter's other archrival. It was a bold move, but Zlatan thrives on being the center of attention. He immediately led a struggling Milan side to their first league title in 7 years. He was back to being the leader, the talisman, the hero. He proved that he could win anywhere, as long as he was allowed to be himself. After conquering Italy, a new challenge beckoned, Paris Saint-Germain. Backed by wealthy Qatari owners, PSG was a club with huge ambitions, and they needed a superstar to lead their project. Zlatan was the perfect fit. He arrived in Paris and declared, "I came like a king, left like a legend." And he wasn't wrong. In 4 seasons, he became the club's all-time leading goal scorer, won 4 straight league titles, and dominated French football like no one before. He scored goals that were so audacious, so brilliant, they almost seemed unreal. Who can forget his 30-yard overhead kick for Sweden against England? It was a goal so good it won the Puskas Award. In Paris, he wasn't just a player, he was an icon. At 34, an age when most players are thinking about retirement, Zlatan decided to take on his biggest challenge yet, the Premier League. He joined Manchester United, reuniting with his former manager from Inter, Jose Mourinho. Many critics said he was too old, too slow for the fast-paced English game. Zlatan, of course, silenced them all. He was United's top scorer, leading them to 2 trophies before a serious knee injury threatened to end his career. The doctors were shocked at the severity of the injury, but Zlatan's response was typical. "I will decide when to stop, and no one else." His recovery was miraculous. He didn't just learn to walk again. He came back to play at the highest level. He embarked on a new adventure in the USA with the LA Galaxy. In his first game, he came on as a substitute, scored an incredible 40-yard volley to equalize, and then scored the winning header in stoppage time. It was the most Zlatan debut imaginable. He took over the MLS, scoring incredible goals and filling stadiums, declaring he was a Ferrari among Fiats. But his story wasn't over. In an incredible twist, at the age of 38, he returned to a struggling AC Milan. It seemed like a sentimental move, but it was anything but. He completely revitalized the team with his leadership, his goals, and his sheer force of will. 2 years later, he led them to the Serie A title, an astonishing achievement for a player in his 40s. He had come full circle, returning to a club he loved and leading them back to glory. Zlatan finally hung up his boots in 2023 at the age of 41. His farewell at the San Siro was emotional, a rare glimpse of vulnerability from the man who called himself God. Zlatan Ibrahimovic's career is a story of defiance, of incredible self-belief, and of breathtaking talent. He won league titles in 4 different countries, scored over 570 goals, and created a legacy that transcends the sport. He was more than a footballer. He was a character, a phenomenon. He taught us that it's okay to be different, to be confident, and to believe in yourself, even when no one else does. From the streets of Rosengård to the grandest stadiums in the world, Zlatan did it his way. A king, a legend, a god. There will never be another one like him. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more. See you in the next one.